closed down by so with his we pick up 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to start the learning sponsors in the hope that Shimon will be walking in the meantime. Okay. Learning sponsors, well, there's today's quite a few actually. Okay, Year of Learning, Martin Lippman and family in memory of his wife, Malka Chana Bat Pinchas, friends of her, Jeremiah, Tzvi Ben Zev, friends of Sam Coleman, Shmuel Ben Yaakov, friends of Gideon Lazinski, Mordechai Shlomo Ben Meir, Bella and David Adler in memory of her father, Eliyahu Ben Yosef Kohen, those who were inspired by our Rebbetzin Emerita, Sheila Shapiro, Sarah Esther Malka Bat Meshulam Yisachar, Gail and Leslie Kaplan in memory of their parents, Mushka Sprinza Bat Yosef Chaim Bechava, Hanan Ben Moshe Eliezer Vechana, Pesha Bat Shmuel Yitzchak Halevi Vitzipora, Isha Ben Yoel Moshe HaKohen Vechana, Rexford Friends of Gladys Sherman, Gutta Bat Meir, Michael Klein and Friends of Judah Klein, Yehuda Tzvi Ben Chaim, Marsha Bronner in memory of her husband, Harav Yerachmiel Ben Shmuel, friends and family of Arthur Ritholtz, Mordechai Yudel Ben Baruch Leib HaKohen, friends and family of Siggy Bessler, Shalom Shraga Ben Dov, friends of Marvin Weinstein, Mordechai Ozer Ben Yisrael Aharon, Sarah Alpert in memory of her husband, Harav Tzvi Lepa Ben Hillel. Have a month of learning by Judith and Michael Poretsky in memory of her father, Yaakov Yitzchak Ben Hirsch Feivel, Isaac and Eda Novik in memory of his mother, Miriam Gittel Bas Hanoch Henoch, Tova and Leo Zimmer in memory of her mother, Henya Bas Reb Beryl, B. Pizer in memory of her husband, Harav Yisrael Chaim Ben David, Rabbi Avi and Lorraine Glatt in memory of Pacey Ackerman's brother, Chaim David Ackerman, Perry and Jael Meltzer in memory of his mother, Malka Bat Baruch, and his sister, Golda Leah Bat David Halevi, Carol and Josh Sanborn in memory of her father, Yehoshua Shia Ben Moshe Yehuda HaKohen, Ike and Evelyn Blachor, Hakarat Hatov for his continuing recovery from recent surgery. A week of learning by Harriet Goldman, in memory of her husband, Hillel Ben Gershon, by Anne Redoler and family, in memory of her mother, Gittel Bat Yaakov. Today being the 28th, we have a day of learning by Sam Levine and Charlie Gelfenstein in memory of Sam's stepmother and Charlie's stepmother-in-law, Liv Shabbat Avraham Shammai. May the Neshamas have an Aliyah, Krank, Rafia, Velti, Ashira, Shema, Talia, Kol B'nai Israel, a good Gaben Shia.
Amen.
Spoke at Hashkama or at Mr. Sfard yesterday?
I didn't speak. Who's it, me?
Yeah.
I didn't speak yesterday.
No?
I heard you spoke, Eddie.
What?
You
I spoke at the 8:30 and the 9.
It was me.
There was no speaker at this time.
Not me.
I vote you get his sweet salad.
Okay, Rabbi, we're on the Mishnah. Daf. Daf Pezayin Amud Aleph?
Oh, all the way down?
Yeah. Because we finished up the whole business from yesterday. It was all really one big piece they had. It was all about Rabbi Yehuda and the din of a summa, of a blind person. Okay. Okay, I'll explain the Iker in a minute. We learned in the Mishnah. Zeh chomer ba'adam v'b'shor. The Gemara, we quoted this a number of times before. In what cases the payments of damage by a man to property a different ways are damaged by a man different than damage done by an ox? A man who damaged a man pays 5 payments that were famous 5 payments. And also he also has to pay for causing the woman to miscarry her babies, which is not the case where it says Bishor and a Mishalem and Ezek, but Bishor, an ox only for damaging man only pays damages and not the other 4. And he's exempt also the ox, even if it causes a woman to miscarry, he's exempt on the payment for the miscarriages. Okay, what? Because both of them are excluded from the language of the pasuk shows me it's only a person and not an animal. No, the only person pays the extra 4 payments, and only a person pays the price for the miscarried babies. Amakas over Yumo, lost him a chabura. If a person smote his father and mother, but he did not draw blood. So we said, remember, in the Easter of the Torah, the capital punishment of the Torah is for drawing blood from the father and mother. The chabur of Yom Kippurim, or a person who did even draw blood, which is malacha, just like on Shabbos, he would get killed by the Beis Din. But in Yom Kippur, there's only kares, and he doesn't get killed by the Beis Din. So even if he did draw blood on Yom Kippur, so in either case he won't get the capital punishment. In which case he doesn't have a capital punishment to exempt him from payment. Chayav b'kula, and he has to pay for all of the 5 payments. Now, what's a little difficult is this. We said the same way that a capital punishment exempts a person from monetary payment to happen simultaneously. The truth is that also whipping also does that. And we got a problem because in Yom Kippur we do have malchus. So what do we do? But here the answer is like this: that every percentage of person is over a law. You're not allowed to hurt people. You're saying you can't hit anybody. You're saying because we can only give the right amount of lashes. You can't hit more than you're supposed to hit. So therefore what? So everybody transgresses a negative precept when they damage a human being. And so since the Torah told me that even though we have a principle that lashes usually exempts a person from payment, but over here it's clear the Torah overrode the rule, because every person that damages somebody is going to get lashes. Gets lashes, yet the Torah said you have to pay. So we see that it doesn't apply over here. Okay. Then we said further, also if a person damages a Jewish slave, he has to pay everything. But he doesn't. But he will if it's the master himself who damaged the servant, who damaged the slave, he doesn't have to pay him idleness or work. As long as he's the owner, because he owns the guy's work, so he doesn't have to pay the guy for his work because he owns it. The other stuff is his, though. The other damage goes to the slave. If a person damages another person's non-Jewish slave, he has to pay everything. However, we mentioned this earlier, there's no such thing. Embarrassment does not apply to slaves. Okay, we have an interesting point. All these people who are essentially incompetent, a deaf mute, an imbecile, a minor, their damage that they do to others is bad in the sense of what? No, it's no good. In other words, it's a liability. You lose out. In other words, if you damage them, you have to pay. But they damage others, they're not obligated because they're not competent. They're not liable to the laws of the Torah. You're liable for damaging them. Same thing, and also a slave and a woman. Their damages turns out to be bad for other people. If you damage them, you have to pay. But they who damage others, they don't have to pay. Now, why is that? Because everything that the slave acquires, the master acquires, and everything the woman acquires, her husband acquires. However, but when they later get money, so then later get money, then they do have to pay. They only have to pay because they don't have money. When they get money, they have to pay. Let's say the woman got married, or the slave got freed, and he now has a possession. He has to pay. If a person smites the father or mother and draws blood, makes a chabura, or a person who damaged his friend on Shabbos and also drew blood, okay, Potter be cool, and they're exempt from everything. Why? But they should need them enough, like we said, because that person is already judged by capital punishment, and by capital punishment they don't pay the monetary payment. Like we learned many times that is incurred at the same time. If a person damages his own Canaanite slave, even though when he takes out his eye or his tooth, he goes free, when he damages them, it's completely his property and he's exempt from paying. He asked the following question. Now, I'm going to make this, there's a lot of ways to read this, but we'll say one way that makes it pretty easy. We know that we have 2 psukim that indicate that a father has rights over his daughter's income. Okay, it depends how you look at it. One of them tells me, it says, by the pasuk, it's by the Dorim, but essentially tells us that the whole time a girl is up till Nara. A girl, when she's born, she's a katana, she's a minor. When she becomes 12 years old, she's really actually grown up. But when she gets 12 years old and 2 hairs, but she's called a Nara, she's called an interim stage until 12 and a half. And at 12 and a half, then she's truly reaches adulthood. So now we know the whole time until 12 and a half, it says that the Torah gave the rights to the father, just like the same place where it taught us about his ability to nullify her vows. It gave him the rights over income. If you learn that way, he has rights over income. And that's also what gives him the right when he gives his daughter away in marriage, which he's allowed to do for a minor, that he gets the payment from the husband, stand for to enact the marriage. Another way to say is like this: is to say, where we know, how we know that the father gets the money when he marries off his daughter. The fact that the Torah said, "Biti I gave my daughter to this man." So he has the right to give it to whoever he wants. He has the right to do whatever he wants. So he gets the payment for the marriage. But he didn't get rights to all of his daughter's income. He didn't get rights to he didn't get all the rights to her. And it just happens to, and Adar, on the contrary, since he has a right to marry off and get the money, but he doesn't have a right to damage her, so he doesn't have the right to damage her. Doesn't have the right to damage her, so he doesn't have the right to damage her. So he doesn't have the right to get the money for her damages. Her money's her money. So we have to see what's the law vis-a-vis a girl getting damaged. What are the father's rights? Well, it depends on what we just said. He has this query. If a person damaged the minor daughter of somebody else, who gets the payment for the damages? Do we say do we say, since, like I said to you, we're going to learn from the pasuk that all the income, so to speak, of her young days until she's 12 and a half goes to the father, and including which also includes what, her right to get the money when she gets married. So in that case, we really learned it from a general principle. Then the father also gets the right to her damages. My time, because what? Because he has a right to everything, and she's worth less. Okay, Odilma. Okay, she's worth less. She used to be worth it, but it's his money. Odilma, no. He says, okay, all he gave her was only just this one benefit, which is what? That he has the right to the money when she gets married. Who That's what the Torah gave to him. He can give it to even a disgusting guy. Even a guy is full of disease. Yeah. He's diseased. He can give it to whoever he wants. So he has the right, since he can give it to whoever the heck he wants. He has the right to the money. But when it comes to damages, he has no right. He's not allowed to damage her. Nobody's allowed to damage anybody. Okay, look, the Torah never gave her he gave him any rights. So Elazar asked Rav. So Rav answered him, no, the only thing that he really got was only the rights to get her marriage money, but he never has the rights to everything. He never has the rights to everything else. And we learned different things from that pasuk. Okay, and therefore he doesn't get the money for the damages. Said the Gemara, let me ask you a kasha, okay? Now we learned in the Mishnah, and we said if a person damages a Jewish slave, he has to pay for everything. But a guy doesn't have to pay his own slave for the slave being idle, because he owns the slave's work. Okay, now if that's true, so he says to him, just like the slave owner doesn't have to pay the slave for being idle because he owns the slave's work. Okay, because he owns all of his work. Okay, the same thing. Okay, therefore the same thing. So we have a kasha to Rav. If you told me that the slave owner has a right to the work of the slave, okay. So also what? How can you tell me what that he only how can you tell me that the father only has a right to the marriage money? He also has since he has a right to her work. He has a right also to collect the damages. On Rabbiah, he says no. He says you're making a mistake. Even though Rav said that the father doesn't get all the payment for the damages, Mother Rav Shevas, even Rav agrees what the Masiyadeh ad Shas Bagu is Tabua. Even Rav agrees what that the actual work of the girl, okay, until she becomes completely going belongs to the father, okay, okay. But the only so therefore what he agrees that he has a right to her work, but. So when it comes to Shevis, pardon me, I didn't say it correctly. Since you're right, even Rav admits what that the father doesn't have the father does have a right when Rav said the father has no rights, even Rav admits that he has the rights to her work. Therefore, the idleness he's able to get. It's only the other payments he said that don't belong to the father. Says the Gemara ACB. He says, 1 second, let me ask you a kasha. We learned in a brisa. Okay, miyad. So if a person damages his grown son, he has to pay the person immediately. He has no right to damage, he has to pay him. If a person damages his young son, okay, a minor, okay, and the father has no rights over a male minor over his money, okay, he has to pay him. The only thing is what? Yeah, but since he doesn't pay him immediately, Yaselo Sugul, he has to make a cash, CACHE. He has to store up a treasure for him, okay, so it won't be lost. And he'll get it later. Yes, we're going to see in a minute. We're going to see in a minute what it is. We're going to see in a second what it is. It's actually an object. We're going to see. Gemara is going to say. We said furthermore, if a person damages his minor daughter, Potter, he's exempt from paying. Okay, below owed elachem shechabluba. Not only that, but other people who damage her, they have to pay the father. So you see what that the payment for the damages does go to the fathers. How could Rav say that you don't? Where says no way. It's the same point. B'Sheves, that's only the point that we already agreed on. Yes, what do you pay the father? You pay him for the idleness of work that belongs to the father. But because that belongs to him. But the rest of the damages don't go to the father. Like says Rob. I went second. We learned in another brisa. We don't go. Do you tell me yad? Pardon me. We learned in the brisa we just learned. We learned that to his grown-up son, he has to pay him immediately. Okay, and there's obviously no difference. Anybody, a grown-up boy, a grown-up girl. Okay. Pardon me. Pardon me. And we don't say that like even though a girl, until she's 12 and a half, the father does have the right to the lack of work. For the boy, he has to pay everything. Let me ask you a kasha. We learned in a different brisa. If a person damages another person's sons and daughters, gedolim, if they're grown up, you have to pay them immediately. Tanim, if they're minors, you have to put up something to treasure something away from them. But if it's his sons and daughters, he's exempt. You see what? So there's no difference between boys and girls, and both of them. If he did damage, he's exempt. So what do you mean? Amri Kasha. He said, no, it's not a problem. He says, Khan, in the second brisa, when you told me when you said that the son and daughter are the same, that's when he's supporting them. Okay, and therefore what? If the father's supporting them, we have a rule that since the father's supporting them, he should. When anybody's supporting somebody, we want them to feel well disposed toward the person that they're supporting, and therefore what? He gets their damages no matter what, boy or girl, because what? Since he's supporting them, so we want him to support them graciously. If you take away, if he has to support them and they're going to get the benefit, he's not going to feel very well disposed to supporting them. But over here, when we said what, that there's a difference between the son and the daughter, okay, and the brisa says that we damage his son, he has to pay him. Okay, what is that? That's when he's not supporting them. Okay, because since he's not supporting them, he has no right to what they made. Okay, and there's no rule of trying to make him feel better. Okay, but nevertheless, even so, and even though even though doesn't have rights because of supporting them, but for his daughter, he's still exempt. Why? Because he still has the rights to her income. But my came to my says, what are you talking about? What did you just tell me? You told me that the first brisa was talking what? You told me the first brisa is talking where he's not supporting them. If that's true, how do you explain the end of the first brisa? If he's not supporting them, how come you told me if he damages his young daughter, he's exempt? That doesn't make any sense. Why should he be exempt? He's not supporting them. Below owed, not only that. And any other person that damaged, you have to give to the father. Okay. Why should he give even the idleness to the father? It should be given to her. Why? The Bible is on it. Since he's not supporting her, she has to support herself. She needs to get money. She's supposed to get all of her income. She has the rights to her income. What in order to eat? She has to be able to eat. Yeah, since he's not supporting her. Okay, so how does it? So therefore, and see, right, and if he's not supporting her and he gets everything, how's she supposed to eat? She's going to die. The answer is And even though you're right that a person can take to his slave. I'm not supporting you. I'm not going to feed you. Work for me in the daytime, and you work at night to get your food. That's by a non-Jewish slave. He can say to him, look, work all day long. Then go out at night and hire yourself out. I'll probably go out and travel and go from door to door and beg and get food. I said, go beg at night. Go out. I said, not work. Go out and beg at night. But it comes to the Jewish slave, it has to be good for him with you, and you can't. And Imach says what? He has to be equated with you with eating and drinking, and therefore you can't tell him what I'm gonna have you work, and I'm not gonna feed you. He can't say it. What? Okay, and since he gets the work, he has to pay. Certainly by his daughter, he has a right to her work. If he has a right to her work, so then if he's not gonna feed her, okay, then she has a right. Okay, to work and get food for himself. Okay, so certainly since he's obligated to feed her, okay, and therefore what? Since she can't do any work, so you have to give her the idleness, okay, to get the money from it. She says can't work. She gets the idleness, so she can eat. He says, don't worry, because don't worry, we can explain. Like Rabbi said in a completely different brisa. Over there was a whole different story. It's telling me what. That when you tell that the girl over there, it's talking that the girl has a right to her work after the father died, and that's when she's not being supported by the estate of the father, but it's only coming. But over there, it was coming to teach me a special point that what it's talking about the money that she has more than she has to, even the money she has more than what she made to eat. So when it's talking about what she gets, it means in addition to what she earned, what she used for food. Hanami here too. I'll say to you here in our case, okay, when the Brisa said what that when she's not being supported by the father, we said that the pay for idleness goes to the father. That's only talking about the money that's beyond what she made for the food. If you took the idle pay and she got her food, okay, then that goes to the father. But the actual money for the food, of course, is going to go for her and not to the father. I says 1 second. But Mayo came to the bus, right? So what did you tell me the second Bryce was talking about? Okay, when you told me what that it said that when he damaged his son, he doesn't have to pay. You told me what because he's supporting him. Okay, and that okay, but if okay, and therefore then it doesn't make any sense. Since he's supporting him, that's why he doesn't pay. Gedolim yitain lahem miyad. What do you mean what? What do you mean what? That if other people damage the grown son, okay, he has to pay them immediately. Tanim Yasov and Segula, and the young ones, he has to put up a treasure. Okay? Why does the person have to pay them for what they damaged him? Okay, okay. The same way that if the father damaged him, he's exempt. Even if other people examine him, since he's supporting them, he should get the money. The same way he doesn't have to pay them if he damages them, other people should have to pay. Since the father's supporting the kid, the money should go to the father. The answer is Amr. Said no. He says you're making a mistake. We said that it's a little delicate. Here's the point. We have a general, we say when somebody's supporting somebody, we want them to be gracious. So we say, look, if the person's going to get a windfall and the supporter is not going to benefit from it, he's going to say, the heck with this guy. I pay everything and I get nothing. He's not going to be well disposed toward the person. But even a person who's supporting somebody is not going to be stringent about everything. When the person just got a windfall with no investment, the person says, hey, you win and I get nothing, then he feels bad. But if the person themselves, if the person who got the windfall didn't get a windfall, just fell out of their habits, they had to pay for it. You'll see in a second. They suffered. Then the person supporting is not so stringent. What do we mean to say? Amri kika papi midika chaser. Okay. I jumped the gun. I'll explain differently. Check what I said for a second. I'll come later. Okay. They said, when is the supporter going to get upset when he doesn't benefit, when he loses something? Sorry, I jumped the gun. But something that just is a windfall that just came and he doesn't lose anything. Here, the kid's going to get some money. The father didn't lose anything. Look up it, okay, because since other people damage him and they pay him, so the father's not losing anything. Look up it, he's not makpi. Even though he's supporting him, he doesn't expect to get that money. He can give it to the kid, to give it to the son. 1 second. Bahamatsia, 1 second. Now I'm going to ask you 1 second. We have another case where we learn a similar principle. Bahamatsia de me alma ka'atilu. But we know we have a general also. Even when a person is supporting their kid, if the kid finds a lost object, we give it to the father. We call copied, and you see that the father is stringent. And so we see 1 second over there. Also, the kid just got a windfall. The kid found a lost object. The kid didn't pay for it. So why is the father makbi? You told me that he's not makbi when he loses. He didn't lose anything when the kid finds a lost object. Ami said no. You're making a mistake. Here's the point. Rav godokatami alma leslut sara de gufayu. Here's the real split. Here, when the kid got a windfall and didn't make any investment, he got it for free. He got a lost object, and he didn't lose anything. He himself didn't invest anything. But he didn't have any pain. Okay, copy. Then the father, even my lost object. That's right. Even though the father didn't lose, the father is stringent because he says, "Listen, you got a windfall and I get nothing. You got it for free. Help me out too. Why should I lose?" But when the kid got damaged, this late Sarah the Gufi, even though it comes from outside, but he has pain. The kid suffers. The kid suffers. He says, "Look, copy." Then even though the father didn't lose, the father is still not stringent. Why? Because the kid got hurt. So the father said, "Listen, okay, let him get it. He doesn't feel bad. He doesn't feel bad." Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, 1 second. Now we have a second. You told me that there are two conditions. You told me that it has to be an outside accruement and has to be something where the recipient has pain. Okay, that's when the father is not stringent. Well, awesome. What do you mean? But in the first brisa, the islate sar de gufa, the first brisa, by damage, the kid has pain. And it's an outside windfall. Okay, yet the father was stringent. Okay, because you told me in the first brisa below. Not only that, a lot of people damaged have to give to the father. Okay, so you saw it even though it was from outside, and even though it's outside and the kid got pain, we still said the father's going to get it. So you told me the father's not makbid in that case. He's not as stringent. He said, "Get out of here." He said, "Awesome." The gava kaplana. We know that the father is particularly stringent. Why? He's not supporting them. If that was the case, we already told me. We set up the first brisa. We said we said that. Okay, we said before he's not. That's the first brisa. He's not supporting them. He's not supporting them. Afilu b'midi da'atilu me'almas. He's so tight-fisted with the kid. He's not supporting him. So therefore what? So then even right, yeah. So even in the crewman that comes from outside, he's stringent. He doesn't, even though they get pain, etc. He still wants it. But over here, but in the second brisa where we said he's supporting him, where he's not such a frugal guy. Yeah, he's supporting them. He's paying for them. He's supporting them. He's feeding them. So now, when he's in general, he's gracious. But when he's stringent, only when he loses something, but something that comes from the outside, he is not stringent. So he said in the Gemara like this. We said the following. He said that if the children are being supported by the father, so then we have the rule in general that when somebody's supporting someone, we have an enactment. The rabbis teach us that we want to make the supporter well disposed to the person that they're supporting, and therefore even things that the supporter doesn't get by the strict letter of the law. For example, damages or the idleness of the son, even though the father doesn't get it really, or even according to Rav, the damage of the daughter, according to Rav, all these things that he doesn't get legally, if he damages them, okay, he's exempt. Why? Because of this idea that we want him to be gracious. We don't want him to feel bad towards the person that he's supporting. But if other people damage, okay, even though he's supporting them, he's not stringent, okay, and they get the payment for the damage. Okay, both what they get according to the letter of law, and also what the father should get according to the letter of law. For example, for the idleness of the daughter, okay, he's also what he's willing to give it up. But if he's not paying for them, so then there's no special dispensation that he shouldn't feel bad because he's not supporting them. We don't care for him to be gracious, and therefore there's no difference whether he damaged them, whether other people damage them, and whether it's the son or whether it's the daughter. With the son, where everything goes to the son, and the daughter, where at least the father has the rights to the idleness, okay, that's more than the money that she has to be used to feed herself. Now, we only said my segula. We said, what is a segula? He said he has to put up a treasure for them. What does that mean? Chizdor Amar Sefer Torah. He said, what? You get you put up, you take a Sefer Torah, you give him something of value to guard it. Rab,
benefits him because he can learn that he is it as
Rabba Baravuna, Rabuna says, "What diklu dochmei tamar?" He says, "What he gives him a date palm where he can what? Okay, that people can get that people can get dates from."
I agree.
Huh? Right back to
Why say that the establishment is only for the minor son, not for the daughter?
Where are you speaking? Where are you? I'm not sure you're referring to. I mean, I'm sure you know what you're saying. I'm not
We
understanding.
learned just before. For a minor daughter, he gives her the money.
boys.
She may not know what to do with it, but he gives her the money anyhow. For his son, he establishes a segula.
I'm not sure if that's exact. I hear what you're saying. I'm not 100% sure if that's true. Let me see 1 second.
Because the father's obligated till she's 12 and a half, and after that, her husband. She's never on her own. Whereas the boy, when he grows up,
I'm just, I lost track. I'm gonna double check and I'll come back to you tomorrow. Believe me. Okay, I'll try and remember. I lost it. I lost the line of the thought. I'll get it. I'll come back. Yeah. All right. So we'll call that. Oh no. Let's go. Should we go a little further?
yeah.
Yeah. Let's go a little. We have a little bit further. A little bit further. I'm sorry. I believe that. It's serious. I'll just know it because I lost the track of the thought. I'll get it for you for tomorrow. Okay. The Gemara says like this. We're back to Rav. Rav told Elazar that the father has no right to the damages of the daughter. Reish Lakish also said like Rav. The father only has a right to get the money for what? For when she gets married, but he doesn't have the right to her damages. Rabbi Yochanan said the opposite. He said what? Afilu p'tzia, even a sore. Okay, even just like a sore, he has to. Even as a sore, he not only a damage, but even a sore he has rights to. P'tzia sakadaita. What do you mean? He says what? That sores belong to the father. If you were a Lazar. Even Rabbi Elazar, who was in doubt when he asked Rav, does the father have rights or not? He only asked about what? About a true damage, okay? About a true, what so to speak, a true lasting damage. What what that lessens the value of the daughter, okay? Because since he could sell her, so he lost value in the daughter. But what? But a seer, a simple sore or whatever it is, she's not losing value. That was no question at all. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina says, "Don't worry." He says, here's what happens because since the sore or the injury, that injury which is on the face, okay, that's something that that's something that will also lessen her value, and that will continue tomorrow. Rabbi will say thank you.
I think that's one of them was talking about the stories in a concealed.
Yeah, exactly. As opposed to. Yeah, that is the difference. One is revealed, one's not revealed. That is correct.
Thank you, Rabbi Green.
Okay, have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi Green.
Okay.